Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to go over my Priority TBR. So these are the books. If we take a look at my bullet journal here, these are the books that are not colored in on here. And so these are all of the books that I've had on my physical TBR before the start of 2024. So I pulled them all off of my shelf here, and what I'm gonna do is go through all of the books, maybe talk a little bit about them, tell you why they're on my Priority TBR, try to remember how long I've had them, if I borrowed them from anybody, anything like that. So that's what we're going to do today. This is also a good reminder for me, as I'm going to probably film picking my August TBR in the next couple of days, because even though it feels like it's still the middle of July, we're actually getting towards the end. And this will help remind me which books should be my priority. And yeah, it is quite a big stack here, but also looking at what's left of my TBR, I've acquired a lot of books in the last year as well. And a big thing that I would like to do is I would like my active TBR shelf to fit all on that shelf without having them stacked on top of one another. So I'm trying to work my way through that, and hopefully reading these by the end of this year will help. Honestly, it's not that many books, and when I went through my bullet journal, looking at how many books I've read off of that beginning of the year TBR and how many books are left to read, I'm at exactly half right now. So working on bumping that up, and hopefully by the end of this year I will have that entire bookshelf colored in and we can start anew. So now that I've rambled for a while, let's start going through these books. The first one I have on my stack here is The Death and Life of the Great Lakes by Dan Egan. This is a book that I got from my university's Go Big Read program in 2018. This is a book that I actually really want to read. It sounds really interesting. It's a nonfiction, and I think I've put it on a TBR or two this year, and I just didn't get around to reading it because I ran out of time that month, and so it's got shuffled back onto the shelf. But I am excited to read this. I want to read this book, so that is on my Priority TBR. I've had this on my bookshelf since 2018 unread. The next book that I have is Educated by Tara Westover. I think this book is a borrowed book to me from my mom. I think she borrowed this one to me last year. So another goal of mine this calendar year is to get all of my borrowed books back to their owners and read, and I'm actually doing a pretty good job of that. I really only have a handful of borrowed books left, and I will continue my reading borrowed book series until I no longer have any borrowed books left. So this one is nonfiction and memoir. As I was looking at my shelves, I have a lot of like biography, autobiographies, memoirs on my shelf, so that might need to be a whole reading challenge in itself. So this one I hope to read and return to its owner. The next book that I have is another nonfiction. This would fall into like that, I guess, self-help category. It's Me to We, Finding Meaning in the Material World. This is a book I actually did start at one time. It's not that long. This is a book that I was gifted from somebody, from my supervisor in college. So it would have been probably 2018. So it's been on my bookshelf since then. I did start it when I first got it, and then was doing university schooling, so I never got through it, and then it's just been sitting on my bookshelves ever since. Again, another nonfiction book, so at some point I will need to tackle this. And honestly, there's like a lot of blanks. Like the font is really small. It's not that long of a book. It's under 300 pages, and there's a lot of like space in here. So I think I just need to pick up this book and read it. The next book on my list doesn't have a dust jacket. I picked it up for free from a free table. It is Code Talker. This is a book that I previously read in high school. Absolutely loved it. Picked it up for free from the free table so I could read it again. Let's see, I probably picked this up last August, so it's been on my bookshelf for about a year. Once I reread this, I am going to declutter it and pass it on to a little free library because I picked it up for free, and so I'm gonna pass it on. But I'm excited to reread this book once I pick it up. It shouldn't take me too long. The next 3 books are also books I picked up from that same free table that my work was giving away. And so they've been on my bookshelf for about a year now. And these are all like young adult books. So the next one that I have is The Lightning Thief. This is a book that I just never read when I was a kid, and I'm interested to know what the hype is again because I picked it up for free. It's another one that I'm going to read and declutter. Same thing with this one. Touching Spiritbearer is a book that I read, I think, in like middle school, and when I saw it on the free table there, I thought that's a book that I think I would like to reread, and once I reread again, we'll declutter. And then the next book I also picked up off the free table. I don't know why I picked this book up. I think I just got caught up in the picking up free books, and because they are like young adult, like middle grade books, I'm like, oh, that won't take me that long to read. And now it's been sitting on my shelf for a year. This one's called Flipped. It is just over 200 pages. Again, once I pick it up and read it, it will be decluttered. Okay, I think that's all of the books that I picked up for free from the free table, and let's keep moving. I have another autobiography here. This is the autobiography of Eleanor Roosevelt. This book is heavy. Like, this is a very heavy book. I picked this one up secondhand, probably early on in 2023, maybe in February or April. I'm thinking about when we went to that specific bookstore. Like I said earlier, I have a lot of biographies, autobiographies, memoirs. So maybe one of these months I will have to have a whole autobiography, biography, memoir challenge or something like that. I'm currently working on a biography. So we will see, but I am working on a video that will be out whenever I get through them about reading autobiographies, biographies, and memoirs. So that one's been on my shelf for probably a year and a half. The next book I also picked up from a used bookstore. It's Hidden Figures. I have seen the movie, but I've never read the book. So when I saw it at the used bookstore, I decided to pick it up for like, I think $8. Yeah, $8. And I'm really excited to read this book. I absolutely love space and cannot wait to add it to my space collection of books. The next book I have had on my bookshelf for probably 2.5 years. It is actually A Blind Date with a Book. My intention when I bought this book, I bought it with a handful of other books, was once I got down to where it had quite a lot of space on my TBR, I was going to open this as a like treat to myself. However, I think the next time I pick a book I know nothing about, it is going to be from my TBR jar, it's going to be to open this book and read this. It has been on my shelf for way too long, and I feel like I've just been waiting for a special occasion to open it, and I think I waited a little too long. So this one, I'm gonna leave it in its wrapping, but it will eventually be opened. I think I've moved with this book wrapped twice. Okay, the next book was gifted to me by my boyfriend's mom. It's the True Love Bookshop. This has actually been on a previous TBR before, and I just was not into reading romance. This is one that I might pick up this summer still and read. I think once I start reading it, it will be a fast read. I just haven't had the urge to pick it up, and I need to read it sooner rather than later. The next book is a book that I was gifted for Christmas or my birthday a couple years ago. And I think my birthday in 2023, if I'm remembering correctly. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I've actually read this book. I've checked it out from the library like 3 times and I absolutely love it. So my sister kindly gifted me this copy. I love this author. I have not read a single book by her that I have not loved. Susan Messner. She's a great historical fiction author. So if you're looking for historical fictions, read hers. I have not been feeling a lot of historical fiction lately. That used to be like my jam. It was my genre that I would read all the time. However, this is a book that I want to read when I have time and actually savor reading it again because I love it. Plus, because it's a reread, it hasn't really been my priority, but I'd love to read this copy and give it its official home on my bookshelf where it will stay for many years to come. And we are getting to the end of the stack of books. So let me pick these up and then we'll go through the last couple. I have 5 books left. So let's speed through the rest of these. My next book that I have is The Zookeeper's Wife. This is a book I picked up from my grandma's basement in 2020. She just had a box of books that she was getting rid of. So I dug through them because I needed something to do that year. And I picked up this book and I just haven't read it yet. It is, I don't know if it's fiction or non-fiction or like a fiction heavily based on real life. But again, it's historical. It takes place during World War II in Poland. So this is a book that I really need to get to because once I read it, I believe I will be decluttering it. The next book is a book that I was gifted. The person picked it up for like $1 at a consignment shop. And I think this one was also from my boyfriend's mom. And she said this is an author that she really enjoys and that I should read it. So I should probably read it. This is also an author that I've heard a lot about. And the premise of this book sounds really interesting. It seems like there's a little bit of a mystery element to it, which I enjoy. And I think once I pick it up, it will be a pretty fast read, is what I'm anticipating, is that once I start reading it, I'm not going to want to put it down. Another thing is I absolutely love the texture of this cover. It's got the perfect texture, so I should really pick this up and read it. The next book that I have is a book that I've probably had on my bookshelf since 2008, I think is when this one came out. It is a free book that, 2008. It is a free book that I got from my library's reading program when I was a kid, and I actually have plans to read this in August. I'm hoping to get it onto my TBR. I checked out, because this is actually a series, and so I checked out the first book in the series from my library, and it came in this last month, and I read it on my Kindle. I checked it out as an ebook format. So now I feel pretty motivated to read this one because it's the second book in the series. And I'm also trying to work my way through the series that I've started. So I think now that I've read that first book, this one will be read next. Plus, I never want to write this title again. It is so long in my bullet journal, and I have like a pretty small space. Well, actually, I feel like it's a decent amount of space to write something. This is just an excessively long title. It's Mysterious Benedict Society and the Perilous Journey. That is a lot of words. So, ready to read this, get it off my TBR shelf, and this one I'll probably end up keeping, and it will go onto my like young adult middle grade shelf, and I will need to reshuffle my bookshelves shortly in the future. Okay, 2 books left. The next book that I have is The Book Eaters. This is a book that I picked up in December of last year, right around the time that I actually finished up my thesis project. For my master's program, I rewarded myself by buying some books. I bought the first 2 Crescent City books, and then I also picked up this book because it just sounded so interesting and like something that, a concept that I'd never encountered before. So I'm actually really excited to read this book. I just have not gotten around to reading it as I've prioritized other books. And then the last book that is my priority read, so books that have been on my TBR shelf for since before this year started. I was gonna say for over a year, but this one has not been on for over a year. It just, since 2024 started, is The Dictionary Wars. This one I picked up at a local bookstore when we were traveling. It's like a small bookstore when we were traveling. It just seemed really interesting. The cover was also interesting, and it was on sale for $10.98 when I bought it. And this book is all about the English language and American English dictionaries. So like the concept seems so interesting, and I'm not sure why I haven't picked this one up yet. I picked this up in 2022 according to the sticker on the back. So definitely need to read this book. It's been on my shelf for a while. I'm gonna count how many books that is, and then we'll wrap this up. So I counted up the number of books that are on my priority list. It is 17. So that is, let's see, we have August, September, October, November, December. So 5 months of reading left, 17 books. That's under 4 books, like just over 3 books from that section a month. So I think that is very doable, and I think with this video is helping me really look at what I have and be intentional about what I'm picking up to read. So thank you so much for watching my Priority TBR video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.